I don't think I can really underscore how important it is to have an up-to-date website, because one of the reasons that you have a website in the first place is that so your MSP can be found online when an MSP is looking for new MSP services. Your website is your company. And from a lead generation perspective, especially if you're a smaller MSP, it can be your primary lead generator if it's set up and managed correctly. Again, going back to the buying behaviors, it's the first thing that prospects search out for when they're considering your MSP. And if they don't find value, or if they don't have an interest in what they're seeing from your website, they're going to hit that back button and they're going to move on and continue their search. And so your website is really your first chance to make a good first impression. And it should be viewed as more than just a check mark on your marketing plan checklist, especially in this post-pandemic age that we're now finding ourselves in. I was mentioning previously, people are now so used to doing all of their research online when they're interested in something. And then only once they feel comfortable with what they've read online, will they, reach out and make a connection. And because of this, buyers are much more educated these days, and they prefer to do their own research first. So if you don't have much of an online presence, or if you don't have much of a web presence that really outlines your MSP, your expertise, they are going to kind of continue their search until they find an MSP that meets their needs and what they're looking for. So if they don't care for your site, or if they don't find what they're looking for from reviewing your site, you're going to be bypassed. And so the issue really comes that if you do have a poorly designed site, or if it's a little bit outdated, this could be costing you opportunities that you don't even know about. And I feel that this is especially important if you are a smaller MSP, maybe a 1 or a 2-man shop, and you're doing everything on your own. I don't want you to discount the work of improving your website, of what that's going to do, how that's going to help, if you do know it needs some work. You really want to think of your website as a member of your marketing and sales team. It's likely the only member of your marketing and sales team. It's the member that's working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, helping to build awareness in the market of your MSP and what your MSP is all about. So it can be a huge help to you. It's a reflection of your services. And if you're not doing much marketing or cold calling, then your website, in addition to your social presence, that can really help give your MSP a boost. So I do recognize that at the end of the day, and I can appreciate that none of what I'm saying is easy, especially if you are a smaller MSP with limited staff. But if you can at least maybe start with your website and start with building out that digital presence and making that a priority, I think that's a really good place to start. So some things to consider as you evaluate, your website, take a look at this list, and are there areas where maybe it could use some improvements? And, again, step number 1, know thy customer. We spoke about this early on, about getting an understanding around who is your target customer. Who's the ideal client that you prefer to deal business with? What industry are they in? What do they desire out of their business? What are they struggling with currently? And then most importantly, how can your MSP help them? So the more focused that your website can be on addressing the business challenges facing your ideal client, the stronger the connection your prospect's going to have with your website and with your organization, and the more likely they're going to want to engage with you. Also, make sure that you have some attention-grabbing headline, and make sure you're prominently displaying your value proposition statement that best showcases your MSP. And so this is really all about not being generic. Going back to those couple of websites that I was looking at this week, they were, for lack of a better term, like terribly generic, and they didn't really do anything. If I was, putting myself in the position of a business owner and I was looking for a new MSP, the websites didn't instill confidence in me that I wanted to reach out and engage with this service provider further. So I really encourage you, don't fluff that part off. It does have an incredible impact when people are looking for you and looking for a new MSP and new MSP services. And so this is really crafted based on, again, on who do you want to do business with. So spend the time, developing, good messaging, and test that messaging for its emotional appeal to really everyone in your inner circle, your colleagues, your peers, your family, your friends, your customers, prospects, because you want to gauge how it resonates, with that focus group. You want to find out, does it, kind of motivate them to kind of stay on your website and poke around and look at a few things? Or are they immediately going to want to, as again, say, hit that back button and go back to their search and move on? You also want to make sure that you keep your website clean and that it's easy to read and to navigate. So you don't really want to make your website menu heavy. You don't want to have pages with, walls of text, as my 13-year-old daughter likes to say to me, like, oh my gosh, mom, wall of text. You want to keep things simple. Keep the website copy, again, really targeted to the benefits and to the outcomes that the prospect can expect to receive by partnering with you. So kind of going back to tip number one, always keep your target audience in mind as you're writing, your copy for your website or any copy for your marketing. Because for the most part, unless you're targeting IT professionals, and that's a whole different marketing plan, your target client, they're non-technical in nature. And so they're looking for your MSP to help solve business-related challenges that they're experiencing. So you want to focus on that. You don't want to fill your pages with products and features. And I saw that this week on one of my websites. And so again, maybe he was targeting IT professionals. I didn't get that because I saw the generic terms managed services, but I went to one of their pages and it was all products. And as a business owner, again, I'm not technical, I'm sales and marketing nerd. I was put off because I didn't quite understand what those products meant. I didn't understand the benefits that it would have to my business. And I think if you are a true pure play MSP who you want to offer outsource technical services to businesses, you don't really want to advertise your products because you want to have the flexibility to cycle in and cycle out different products, different solutions as you see fit as the technical trusted advisor. And so I just don't know if products are really necessary on a managed services site if you're a pure play MSP, because I really don't think business owners are really going to know or maybe really care. They're not coming at it like you are. They're not technical. And so I think by eliminating the product section, this does really give you the freedom to make changes to any of your recommended solutions that you're using to help deliver your managed services and your security services, because you can change them out as you deem appropriate, and you don't need to always go back and ask for permission to go and make those changes. Also, when you're looking at your website, make sure you fix the broken stuff and make sure that it's mobile friendly. Nothing, I think, is more annoying, and I'm sure everybody can agree to this, than visiting a poorly designed website or viewing a website where it's obvious the care and attention is lacking. And so, again, poor attention to detail from a website perspective, that is going to cause prospects to jump to conclusions and immediately question your MSP skill sets and your capabilities. Because again, your website, you need to look at it as an extension of your business, and it should be viewed with a very critical eye, making sure that broken links are fixed, that pages don't take a long time to load, and that it is website friendly, mobile friendly. Most of us, I know, I can have my computer, I can have my laptop in front of me, I can have my iPad in front of me. The first thing I'm going to grab is my phone, and I'm on my phone doing some research. And so there's nothing more frustrating than having to kind of pinch and expand and scroll. So just make sure that your website is mobile friendly so that a business owner can clearly and easily read everything that they need to, no matter what device they happen to be doing that research from. And then make sure it's, I call it SEO sound, make sure that you have an understanding of the core keywords that are the most relevant and searched for in the industry. If you don't have a list of keywords, there's a high likelihood that your website isn't as optimized as it could be for search engines. So SEO optimization, that's a real art. And if you know that your website could use some help, it's best handled by working with an SEO professional. It's worth making that investment, especially if your goal is to help increase traffic to your site, because the more traffic that can be driven to your site, obviously the greater the chances are that these lookers will potentially reach out and book a meeting with you. And then obviously that helps to increase the chances of converting them into newly signed managed services clients. And make it personal. I think, if you have pictures on your website of servers and hardware, network gear, cables, I would really suggest that you replace them. Make it personal. Replace them with pictures of you and your team, because people buy from people. And those business owners that you're targeting, they're non-technical buyers. So the servers, the hardware, the cablings, that's not going to appeal to their emotional side, and that doesn't make your MSP relatable. Because again, most businesses, they have a service provider that they're using already. So the challenge is always going to be, how can I gain their attention and insert myself, because I want to be that viable alternative for when the time comes that they're ready to make a switch. And I think a good way to accomplish that is through differentiation and personalization of your website. So remove those stock images of file servers, cables, buildings, and replace them with professional photos of yourself, your staff, and then if you can, your good clients. And then add more stories. And what do I mean by this? Take a look at your homepage. Take a look at your about page. If anybody has listened to any of our websites, our webinars, or our boot camps, I talk a lot about Paul Green. He's a MSP marketing guru. Paul Green's MSPmarketing.com is his website. We use them a lot for a lot of our Enable sponsored marketing events. And he feels the homepage and the about page are the two most critical pages to focus on, because they're going to generate the most amount of traffic when prospects are checking out your MSP and they're trying to make a decision as to whether they want to reach out and engage with you or not. So does your website, tell a story? Does your about page tell a story about how and why you started your business? Do you offer stories about your staff, their interests, their backgrounds? You're seeing us try and do this here at Enable. We have our whole nerd section. Like, we're still really working to build out our nerd brand. So we have videos that we've done. We have stories just to try and make us a little bit more relatable to our target market, which is our MSPs. Do you regularly post case studies about your clients, telling stories about how you've benefited and improved their businesses? And just like adding real life pictures of you and your team, stories also work really well to help make your organization seem trustworthy, make it seem relatable, because the goal of all of this is you want to de-risk that purchasing decision of those prospects who are looking to potentially switch out their incumbent MSP with you, because at this point, it's the devil they know versus the devil they don't. So you just kind of really want to make yourself be the nicer, prettier devil in this case. Add more video content. So maybe if you have an FAQ section on your website, maybe change it up a bit and think about using your staff and recording videos of them answering your customers' most common questions. Or maybe use a video to demonstrate what a ransomware attack might look like and what you can do, or how you can help them being breached. Because we all know it's more engaging to watch a 1 or 2 minute video than reading some sort of dry PDF. Add more social proof in the form of case studies, testimonials, reviews. And this is kind of really going back to the natural tendency that a lot of us have when we're beginning to research a new company and do business with them. Obviously, I've kind of beat this horse, check out the company's website, But then they're also then at the website, they're going to go and want to read the reviews. They're going to want to go and look at case studies. They want to see what others are saying about you. So if you don't have anything like this yet, go and talk to your top 5 clients. Maybe ask them if they would do a short video, talking about how and why they really enjoy working with you or your team, how you've helped them, and post that to your site or post that to your social and direct them to your site. Grab screenshots of customer reviews, the recommendations from your Google My Business or your LinkedIn, and post them there as well. Have a case study written on maybe a big project that you've assisted one of your customers with, and maybe highlight how you were able to improve their security posture and mitigate their overall risk. And then, add more content, but do this in the form of blogs, ebooks, printed books if you can, articles, reports, and you can use all of this to help build out your email database. And you want to include a way that allows prospects to download this extremely valuable content in exchange for them providing you with their email address. And this is really critical because your prospects are then choosing to opt into your marketing, which is what we want. And email marketing is a really good way to keep those prospects engaged and your organization top of mind, because if you can get them to opt in and provide your email address, you now have another avenue where you can do marketing, and you're working to build out your email audience. And building an email database organically with permission-based opt-ins is much more valuable than going out and buying a list, because bought lists for email purposes generally don't work. In a lot of parts of the world, you're not actually able to do it. So you definitely want to check with that. So if you can build it organically with opt-in and permission-based, that's the way to go. And I'm going to be plugging this in a little bit, but if you're not familiar with Market Builder, this is where Market Builder can come in and help you, because you don't need to go through all of this alone. We have the content, we have the collateral that you can use. It's white labeled. You just go and put your logo on it. You just go and put your content on it, and then start to use it. And if there was something that you need, that you want us to build, we do take requests. So if you are a Market Builder user, put it in the question panel of what type of material you would like me to take to the Market Builder team, and I'll put it front and center of them, and we'll get the team working on it. Also, ensure that you have a clear call to action, and make sure that it's found on every page. And so you'll want to determine, what is that call to action? Is it to have them reach out and book a discovery meeting with you? Is it to have them enter in their email address, to have them download or make themselves available to do a quick self-assessment or a more extensive network assessment? Is it to gain access to some sort of ebook? Just make sure that you've kind of thought out what your call to action is. And then lastly, make sure you're implementing a regular website review schedule so that you can monitor for any and all needed improvements, because you should never look at your website as a one and done type of marketing activity. You should be constantly evaluating it and scrutinizing it and critiquing it so that you can keep it up to date and engaging as possible.